Preseason is in full swing. I mean, Justin Fields out there looking like the freaking man with DJ Moore. I mean, yeah, he didn't throw the ball further than the line of scrimmage, but nonetheless, what was the stat line? You had like 3 attempted passes, a couple hundred receiving yards, and multiple receiving touchdowns. But it is exciting nonetheless to check out how people are going to be pushing up these players due to preseason performances. So let's go ahead. Let's hop into some underdog drafts here, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what we are going to get in right away. Now, we have a couple different options. One, we could go ahead. We could opt in a $25 Best Ball Mania tournament. 2, we could opt in a $250 Big Dog tournament. We are going to be getting into this later on in this live stream. This is the tournament I won $100,000 in last year. But 3, we could be getting in what I believe to be the best tournament for new people on Underdog Fantasy this year. And that's going to be the Chihuahua 2. It's a $4 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool, $25,000 for first place. So let's go ahead. Let's hop in here, ladies and gentlemen. There are 10 spots open in this draft if anybody wants to come and draft against us, which I'm sure we'll have some people. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming to hang out with us today. And yeah, I mean, we have a ton of different things to talk about. I mean, Eli coming out and says, what do you think about Anthony Richardson today, boss man? I mean, with Richardson, he didn't run the ball a ton. I mean, I think it's very difficult to look at those rushing quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson that's going to win with his rushing ability, win with his physicality, and go, okay, well, how did he play in the preseason, right? Because you know that the Indianapolis Colts coaching staff saying, hey, man, yeah, don't run. Do not take hits. This is the preseason. This doesn't really mean much. So, yeah, whatever you do, play it safe. Whatever you do, just make sure you are good to go for the regular season. So it's very difficult to know how those rushing quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson really are based off that kind of performance. But nonetheless, it didn't look great, obviously. But hopefully if you actually have JT here, hopefully if you have some rushing upside there in the regular season, it's not going to be the end of the world, right? Preseason week 1. This is more so just to have some fun. And yeah, Sart coming out here saying that Jordan Love looked pretty damn good. Yeah, I mean, I actually went through, and because the Jordan Love game, I'm honestly kind of doubling down on what we have with one of our favorite underdog pick'ems right now. I mean, if you look at those pick'ems on Underdog, currently the Jordan Love line, they have at 13.5 interceptions. I mean, I personally think that 13.5 interceptions was extremely aggressive in the first place. Only 4 quarterbacks had more than 14 interceptions this past season. So yeah, I actually really like the fewer than on the Jordan Love pick'em line there. Yeah, Love looked good. Love looked good. But also Justin Fields did as well. But we are going to have the choice between Kelsey, Eckler, Bijan Robinson. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take our guy, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you know that it's going to be difficult for me to get away from him at pick 7. And especially the more information that I dive into, the more that we research for this next season, the more I'm a little bit concerned about taking Austin Eckler in the middle of round 1 for a multitude of different reasons. Actually, I have a video coming on that very, very soon. So, of course, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you want to draft with us, we are doing these drafts every single day on the live stream. These are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last year. And if you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And you can also go check out some of those pick'em lines that we like, right? Like the Jordan Love, fewer than 13.5 interceptions this next season. But after we take Eckler, after we pass on Eckler, he goes at 10. Kelsey goes at 9 here. I mean, it looks like we don't have too many players falling to us at a value. Devontae Adams dealing with the calf strain, which is not great considering the fact that I've drafted a lot of Devontae Adams here. We don't even have to think about him, though, because Adams is going off the board at 15. Start says, what are your thoughts on the Steelers-Bucks game? I mean, Pickett looked good. Obviously, you had the touchdown reception for George Pickens. I mean, we shouldn't be having any massive overreactions for these games, right? Primarily, we should just be checking in, seeing what's going on, and maybe making a few adjustments. I'm very interested to see where people begin taking like Justin Fields, DJ Moore, right? Because, I mean, obviously these guys already had a tremendous amount of hype going into the year. And I actually drafted a lot of Justin Fields. I don't know how much DJ Moore I have. Saquon Barkley goes, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Chris Olave. I mean, a lot of teams are going to have the combination of Bijan Robinson as well as Tony Pollard if you look at where those ADPs line up. But specifically in this tournament where we want to have a unique start that has access to upside, keep in mind, it's a $4 buy-in, $25,000 first place prize pool. That's what we're going for. There are going to be a lot of teams that go Bijan Robinson, Chris Olave through the first 2 rounds. So let's pull the trigger there. And let me pull up how many drafts I have Justin Fields as well as DJ Moore in. It's going to be a big one. Okay, T-Dog says, been high on DJ Moore. Let me see. How much more do I have? I have DJ Moore in 8.4% of drafts. So I'm right in line with average on DJ Moore. DJ Moore has fallen a lot. I've been taking him a lot more as of late compared to where he was going previously this offseason. And I have 10% Justin Fields. So I'm slightly above average on Justin Fields. I mean, the interesting spot, right, is if you're there and you take an elite level quarterback like Jalen Hurts, like Patrick Mahomes, like Josh Allen at the 2-3 turn, are you still taking Justin Fields there when he makes it to you at the end of the 4th round, the beginning of the 5th? I have a feeling that you're going to see so much hype for this Bears team that Justin Fields may end up just starting to go in the middle part of the 4th round, but we'll see. We'll see. Cedar Point Boys says, thoughts on the 0 RB strategy? I mean, it really depends on the league format that you're playing in, right? I see a lot of people thinking that they can implement 0 RB in a league where you only start 2 wide receivers in a flex. And then there, you probably want to be staying away from 0 running back. Honestly, in that kind of format, it's going to make no sense whatsoever. However, if you can say start 3 wide receivers and then you also have 3 flex spots or 2 flex spots, or maybe even just 1 flex spot if it's a 12-team league, then yeah, you can go ahead, you can slam wide receivers, but it's going to be very dependent on your format. Now, Taylor coming out says, standard PPR, no snake draft. I have picks 108, 113, 201, 208, 213 due to trades. Who should we be looking to take early? All running backs and wide receivers or early quarterback as well. I mean, hell, if you have 5 picks through the first 2 rounds, especially if it looks like it's going to be a 14-team format or more, I definitely want to be mixing in 1 elite level quarterback if we can. Say if we can go with, I mean, a nice balanced approach, both at running back, wide receiver with the first 4 picks, and then at the 213, either getting Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, or Josh Allen. I think that makes so much sense. Okay. But let's see. Mahomes goes off the board there, 28. This is the furthest I've seen Mahomes fall. DK Metcalf goes at pick 30. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to reach on Josh Jacobs here. Now, I understand, yeah, Jacobs is someone that people aren't very comfortable drafting. And yeah, you have no idea what the situation is going to be this next year. But at the end of the day, in this underdog tournament, it's a $4 buy-in, $25,000 prize pool. I mean, revisiting the teams that we won massive tournaments on underdog last year and just looking at our instant analysis as we drafted those last season. I mean, essentially all we talked about over and over and over again was chasing upside, upside, upside. And that's what I want to continue to do, right? So I believe that Josh Jacobs does have that elite level ceiling. Even if there's some inherent uncertainty, I'm slamming him in the middle of round 3. Now, GBD12 says, Mason, I did my one and only big dog draft and started off Diggs, AJ, oh my gosh, DK, ETN, Goddard 83, drafted at 11th, stoked on it. Getting Diggs and AJ Brown on the same team is going to be something that very few people are able to do, my man. I would be surprised if there's a single other team in the big dog tournament in particular that starts off Diggs, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. That's beautiful, my man. I love that. Okay. Cedar Point, spamming your question over and over again. My man, I already answered this. Please do not spam questions over and over again, especially when I've already answered it. But let's move this around. Mike Williams off the board going to pick 37. Okay. Lamar Jackson goes 38. It would have been beautiful to have Lamar make it back to us. I wonder if you see someone mix in Justin Fields here. I mean, I don't think it's super likely, but I think it's a possibility we see a Justin Fields selection. DJ Moore goes to pick 40. I mean, so people are bumping up DJ Moore based on the performance. And honestly, you can't blame them, right? I mean, you want to get excited about this. You want to get excited about football and seeing that kind of a just explosive playmaking ability. DJ Moore is kind of in the same tier almost regardless. So let's see what Dub KJ does. They go Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel was going to be our selection. At this point, I think maybe we pivot. Oh my gosh. We'll pivot over to Najee Harris. We'll take someone that we haven't drafted much lately. I actually do have Travis Etienne ranked ahead of Najee Harris. The primary reason we're taking Najee here is he's the guy that falls based on ADP. There are going to be a lot of other drafts I can get Travis Etienne in this range, and Najee Harris isn't going to be available. So if I was only going to be in one fantasy football draft, to be honest with you, I still probably go Travis Etienne over Najee. But Mr. Moonhopper coming in says, such a legend, man. Always coming in clutch. Thanks. No, thank you, my man. Appreciate you stopping by the live stream with us. Now, Travis Etienne and Joe Mixon both go 43-44. What's interesting is the Jamar Chase team decided to take Jalen Hurts. So you assume that they're not going to go Joe Burrow here. That team at pick 1 can go Joe Burrow if they want at 48 to pair up with T. Higgins. The team at 2, I guess, can go Justin Fields. Isaiah asking if we're still going to go Burrow over Fields in a 6-point passing touchdown format. Yeah, if it's a 6-point passing touchdown league, still clearly taking Joe Burrow over Justin Fields. 4-point passing touchdown format where the rushing upside is going to matter a little bit more. There, I think you can go ahead, and I think you can take Fields instead if you really want, but it is what it is. Charles asking how important it is to draft stacks. I mean, I've talked about this in videos time and time again. Please go and look at the most recent video that we put out saying only idiots don't use this fantasy football strategy. That's a 20-minute long video talking about stacks. Am I supposed to go, oh, how important is it to draft stacks? 1 through 10, it's going to be a 7.428 level of importance. I don't know how we answer that question. Now, that team at 2 decides to take Christian Kirk over Justin Fields, which is very interesting. I mean, I was taking Justin Fields easily over Christian Kirk before the game, right? And now that he goes out there and just looks phenomenal, at least, I mean, he doesn't look that different, but the Bears' offense at least looks explosive. Fields completed 3 of 3 passes for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns in Chicago's preseason game against Tennessee on Saturday. Fields didn't need to break a sweat as DJ Moore took his 1 target for a 62-yard touchdown on a screen pass, while starting running back Khalil Herbert took a check down pass 56 yards for the other touchdown. Yeah, Justin Fields goes, so we don't have an option to take Justin Fields here. We are going to go ahead and we are going to reach on a wide receiver that I really like. We're going to take Jackson Smith-Njigba here at pick 55. Not a big guy in drafting Aaron Jones at this price point. If you're going to be looking at Justin Herbert, I'm fine taking Herbert here, and I'm actually excited to take Herbert here if we either drafted Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, or Austin Eckler earlier on, right? Really wanted to make sure that we have one of those 3 players if we're going to do that. Okay. Aaron Jones, Deontay Johnson both go immediately after. And yeah, I'm not really drafting Deontay Johnson. I know we've talked about this a ton as well, but I would just rather have George Pickens in round 7 than Deontay Johnson in round 5. Like, in my mind, these guys should be going almost like back to back. The fact that you're having to pay this kind of price point on Deontay Johnson, I just really don't understand it. I'm not going to draft Deontay at this price. Maybe because I drafted him a lot last year, and obviously he burned us last year. Maybe I'm a little bit scarred, but David coming up says, signing up to Underdog as we speak. We'll be using your promo code. Thank you for your hard work and consistency, my man. No, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this live stream, and thank you for signing up to Underdog promo code FLOCK. I promise you, there's nothing that supports this channel more. If y'all enjoy these live streams every single day, I think we've been live for like 106, 107 days in a row at this point, and we're going to be live every single day until 2024. There's no better way to support this channel than signing up to Underdog using promo code FLOCK. $10 deposit gets you our rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can find our draft guide, plus an extra $10 in your account, and go out here and hop into some drafts with us. And I definitely would do so ASAP before the Chihuahua 2 fills, which, like I said, is my most recommended tournament for new people on Underdog Fantasy. $4 buy-in, $25,000 prize play. I honestly don't think you can beat it here. Okay. Now, let's move this over. Dameon Pierce goes 61. Yeah, Dameon Pierce getting the quote-unquote star treatment, not even having to play in the preseason here. They're throwing Devin Singletary out there to take those hits. Now, Joseph, here at the 101, just started using Underdog because of you used that promo. Thanks, man. Let me go ahead and check out your team at pick 1 in just 1 second. Lawrence goes off the board 64, so we're going to get either Hollywood or George Kittle here 66, and not really going to think about that one too much. We'll just take whoever falls. Yeah, Hollywood goes, so we're going to get George Kittle, pick 66. So we'll give us access to only having to draft 2 tight ends in this draft, and some of our favorite tight end targets right now are not looking too high. Greg Dulcich right now playing in a tight end by committee, and even Pat Frymuth out there kind of in a tight end by committee. But going over to pick 1, Jefferson, Taylor, Higgins, Burrow, literally beautiful start. I can't think of a better start there from pick 1. I mean, if I were to go through and change anything, honestly, I don't change it. That's exactly how I would have constructed my team as well. I possibly would have taken Mahomes over Higgins, but if you would have done that, then you would have had to go like Christian Kirk instead of Joe Burrow. So it's like, would you rather have T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, or Mahomes, Christian Kirk? I don't know the right answer to that, but regardless, love the team, my man. Okay. Now let's move this over. Dylan says, I wish Underdog was available in Louisiana. Yeah, I think you're right. Underdog's not available in Louisiana, not available in Nevada, not available in Washington, not available in Michigan. I think one of those states is Idaho. The other state's Montana. Please don't scream at me if I'm incorrect there. And Underdog's also available everywhere in Canada but Ontario. But I know a lot of people think, oh, I don't have Underdog. I live in California. Oh, I live in Texas. I live in Florida. No, you have Underdog Fantasy. I mean, I live in Texas right now, lived in Florida last year, and I've been hopping into these Underdog drafts nonstop. Okay. Aiden asking, is it available in Antarctica? My man, please, I will pay you money to do this. Take a trip to Antarctica. I don't know how much a ticket is. Send me the estimate on how much the ticket is. I possibly will pay for your ticket to Antarctica and record a video testing to see if Underdog Fantasy is available there, and let me know. But Johnny coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Now, Javonte Williams goes off the board 74. Yeah, you're seeing these running backs slide up draft boards, I mean, pretty consistently at this point. Now, if we were to have Quentin Johnson make it to us at 79, which he probably will, the question comes, I mean, the real question is like, okay, well, did we make a mistake in that case deciding to pass earlier on Justin Herbert, right? It's Green says that's got to be so expensive. How much, if y'all had a ballpark it, how much would you guess a trip to Antarctica cost? I'm going to look it up real quick. How much is a trip to Antarctica? Okay. Brandon Cooks goes, thank God we get George Pickens making it to us at 79. Getting Pickens making it to us at 79 makes this entire team. Oh my gosh. I love this team now that we get Pickens there, and I don't feel like we're completely screwed at wide receiver. Okay. Ooh, it's not much at all. 15K, 5,000, 10,000, 7K, 8,500, 1,500, 2K. I looked it up. On average, a 10 to 12 day cruise to Antarctica from South America can cost anywhere from $1,700 to $15,000 per person. So I guess $2,000 you can go to Antarctica. Obviously, that's if you live in South America. I mean, South Africa, right? Or is it South America? No, South America. So I don't know how much it's going to cost for you to get to South America, but if you can make it there, I mean, it's connected to North America. It'd be a pretty long hike, say if you're in like Ohio or something. But you hike down to South America. Maybe you jog it if you don't want it to take too long. Hop on a boat. As long as you can carry $1,500 down there. Yes, Aiden, I got your trip. How about this? If anybody in this live stream wins the $3 million on Underdog for Best Ball Mania 3, y'all better be taking us out to Antarctica. Anybody here wins that, y'all better be taking me to Antarctica with y'all. It'd be an interesting choice for a vacation. But a Beast Mode coming out says, 4th pick in a 12-team league. Who should we get round 1 and 2? I mean, if we're going to go like, say, a league where you start only 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. With that 4th pick, I'm going to be looking at running back or Kelsey. Like, I would love to go Kelsey if you can only start 1 flex and 2 wide receivers. If you can start, say, 3 wide receivers and multiple flexes, then instead I'd probably rather pivot to try to go like Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. But it's going to be dependent on your format. I know the way back around at the end of round 2, I think you stay flexible. I think you take the value where it falls. But if you are able to, say, get, who do we want to call out? So if you're able to get like Pollard, Chubb, I think you kind of have to go that direction. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Treylon Burks as well as pick 90. I mean, we just kind of have to take wide receivers, right? And we start off this draft, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, George Kittle through the first 6 rounds. I mean, we're playing catch up at wide receiver. That's what it is. So when we take George Pickens, when we take Treylon Burks here, obviously these guys aren't guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, these are players that have access to some kind of upside. And that's what we're chasing. It's a $4 buy-in, $25,000 first place prize, right? So we're chasing. We're chasing upside, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Alvin Kamara off the board at 94. Okay. Okay. Rashad Bateman goes pick 96. Thomas goes well. So it looks like we have some running backs making it back. So Jamison Williams almost had the big preseason grab. I mean, he got open, he got deep, and he couldn't bring it in. But nonetheless, it's nice seeing a wide receiver be able to put on that kind of speed, right? It's nice to see that he was almost there to make a play. I would always rather a wide receiver get open and demonstrate that ability and then drop the ball rather than never get open in the first place. But E-Man says, which running backs and wide receivers get upgrades in full PPR leagues? I have no idea how to answer that, my man. The ones that will have more receptions? If it's a full PPR format, you want to grab the guys that are going to catch the ball? I mean, but that's kind of obvious, right? I don't know if that's what you're asking. Now, Anthony Richardson off the board at 98. This team only has 3 wide receivers. Let's see if they pull the trigger. No, they go Dalvin Cook. Are they on auto? They're not on auto draft. They took David Montgomery, pick 75. But Party Moose coming out says 14-team at PPR format. Take 3rd running back at pick 5 or best wide receiver running backs 5. Yeah, if it's going to be a 14-team at PPR league where we're going to be a little less incentivized to put a wide receiver in there, that flex spot, I'm going to be completely fine if you want to go ahead and take a running back there. Dak Prescott off the board. I'm actually going to probably take Jamison Williams here. I mean, going back to what we were discussing previously, I would rather see the wide receiver get open and drop the ball rather than never draw the target in the first place. So I know with Jameson, kind of is what it is. But going back to what we were talking about previously, we slammed running backs early on at this point. I mean, the quarterbacks don't really make a lot of sense here for us. Pick 103. We're trying to chase wide receivers that have elite level ceilings in weeks 15, 16, 17, particularly in this format. Now, Davion says, how do you feel about Cam Akers now that the offense is going to be healthy? I mean, it's a really bad offensive line. At the same time, Akers has never been good in fantasy. And it's really hard to say that, oh, now the offense is going to be healthy, right? We don't know that for sure. If you're looking at Las Vegas sportsbooks right now, I mean, they're putting out 6.5 for the line with the Los Angeles Rams for their win total. So Vegas sportsbooks are telling us that you probably don't have a great Rams team one way or another. The offensive line is horrendous. So I'm not a big Akers guy, if I'm to be honest with you. Not a big Akers guy. Okay, so Brian Robinson goes 107. Would have been really happy about getting him on the way back around 114. I mean, round 10, Brian Robinson is just such a compelling price point. And I have an entire video talking about Cam Akers that comes out later today, ladies and gentlemen. So please make sure you're on the lookout for the video later today. And Khalil Herbert going way before, I guess not way before ADP here. ADP 116. Now he's going off the board 109. Pat Frymuth goes 111. Cousins not really in play, right? We don't have any Minnesota Vikings. If we wanted to take a quarterback here, we could go Geno Smith to pair up with Jackson Smith and Jigba. We could also go Daniel Jones just for his rushing upside. Okay, what is this team doing? They're maybe on auto draft. No, they go Kirk. Yeah, they go Kirk Cousins, who is at the top of ADP. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Geno Smith, pair him up with Jackson Smith-Njigba. I've talked about this before, but Geno Smith does scare me in that this is a quarterback that broke out at like 33 years old, right? Like, how the hell are we supposed to see that and go like, oh yeah, I'm super confident in Geno Smith. Like, I know exactly what he's going to be. I'm very confident he's a great quarterback. In reality, I don't really know, but what I can say is he has DK Metcalf. He has Jackson Smith-Njigba. He has Tyler Lockett. He has Kenneth Walker. He has Zach Charbonnet. He has a respectable offensive line. He has a respectable coaching staff. He was good last year. So, yeah, let's go Geno Smith, 114. And we'll figure out the rest. Elig says, thoughts on Keontae Ingram for Dynasty? I mean, I said it last offseason. I'll say it again. Keontae Ingram's a nobody. I mean, of course, I'd love to root for our guy, Hilke Lawrence, but at the end of the day, I don't be sitting here thinking that Keontae Ingram's going to turn into something, regardless of if it's a 2023 redraft league or a Dynasty league. Now, David says, are we getting into a big dog draft next, Mason? Looking forward to drafting against the defending champ. Yes, we will get into a big dog draft after this. We're going to get into a couple more drafts after this. So, of course, if you want to draft with us, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes in the stream. And at the same time, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. You can find the link to Underdog in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. On Underdog, there are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last year. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, you can check out all the player props on Underdog, right? I mean, my favorite prop right now is going to be Jordan Love for fewer than 13.5 interceptions. Now, Damian Harris goes 125. Darnell Mooney off the board. So, yeah, you see the Bears moving up across. Now, at this point, what the hell are we wanting to do? I mean, Rodgers doesn't make a lot of sense. We don't really have any Jets here. I mean, I actually just kind of want to go ahead and reach on our guy. We're going to be reaching past Jarrett McKinnon. We're going to be reaching past Jamal Williams. I'll take Elijah Mitchell. I mean, with Elijah Mitchell, I think he does have a very high ceiling if you were to see an injury to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Elijah Mitchell is rookie season, average 100 total yards per game. And on top of this, Elijah Mitchell should see a role this next season regardless of CMC's health, right? Like, you're not going to sit here and ever assume that Elijah Mitchell is going to turn into a top 20 running back with a healthy Christian McCaffrey. But in these best ball drafts, he could still randomly score a touchdown and spike into our starting lineup, right? So I really like how he fits a roster construction. David coming out with the donation. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you. Elig says, Keontae is the backup. I picked him up for nothing. Only 23 if Connor. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of 23-year-old running backs that look like that. I'm not saying it's not worth a roster spot in Dynasty, my man. Just making sure you're not going out there and making any long-term plans around him or trading for him anyway. But Travis says, you need a sparkling water. I do, my man. Rate my start 103 in a Chihuahua 2. We have CMC, Henry, Higgins, Mike Williams, Burrow. Oh, I really like this. Pierce, Dotson, Sutton, Dalvin. I really like it. I wouldn't have liked it before the Tim Patrick injury, but now I think you actually have, a strong reason to take Courtland Sutton at that price tag, especially if you look at your overall roster construction. Now, Jamal Williams makes it down to 134. Let's swing this back around. With this team, I honestly may consider going 3 quarterbacks as well as 3 tight ends, depending on how things fall to us. Now, we don't have to do that, right? I mean, we take George Kittle specifically so we can possibly take 2 tight ends and 2 tight ends only. It's going to depend on who falls to us at 138. Okay. Dub KJ on the clock. He took Cousins the last round. He goes MVS. Actually, so we are going to get Dalton Schultz here. Main reason I'm taking Dalton Schultz, other than I like the situation he's in. I mean, I think that he should see volume and he should be okay this next season. On top of this, all the wide receivers and running backs are disgusting in this range. But most importantly, if we pair up Dalton Schultz as well as George Kittle in this underdog draft, we're only going to have to take 2 tight ends And yeah, that's something I definitely want to do, right? We want to have that extra spot for wide receiver, especially we want to have that extra spot for another quarterback whenever we only have one with Geno Smith. But Chris coming out says, I genuinely love the content and infinite streams. Though I was curious if you had a salary cap content on the horizon or will stream any draft. So I'm assuming you're talking about like auction style leagues. And I actually just put out an auction video on flockfantasy.com. The issue in making like auction style drafts and auction style content for YouTube is it is so dependent on your exact league settings and how you want to be optimizing for your specific auction draft. So it's very difficult for me to go out there and say, okay, here are the auction values you assign to these players. Because if you're playing in a league that, say, is a 12-team format, you roster 20 guys, your starting lineup's 9 players long, then that kind of strategy is going to be wildly different than a 10-team league where you're only rostering, say, 16 players and your starting lineup is 7 options long. So it's almost impossible for me to make any auction style content on YouTube because it's so important to just to your format. While at the same time, if we try to do like an auction mock draft, we've done this in the past. If one person leaves, everything is ruined. Whereas on the other end, I mean, with these mock drafts, with the regular style drafts, I mean, if someone leaves, then it's not the end of the world, right? If someone leaves, then they're just going to auto the rest of the time. But you can't really auto an auction. If someone just is sitting there with like 7% of the overall league budget and they don't use it, it skews everything. Now, Vinny coming out says, hey, Mason, really enjoyed it when you went on Fantasy Pros. It's how I learned about you. Thank you, my man, for a mock redraft. Any plans to go on other sites? Thanks. If people reach out to me, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we're going through and doing this every single day, my friend. Every single day we are out here drafting. So we don't have a lot of time. People reach out to me. I'll be happy to go on, of course. Okay. Now, Joey on the clock. Let's see what he's doing. Goes Gerald Everett. I'm actually probably going to make a surprising pick for a lot of people. I'm going to take DJ Chark here, pick 151. I mean, I like DJ Chark in comparison to all the other wide receivers on the board. And if we take Derek Carr to pair up with Chris Olave, it doesn't really change our roster construction, right? We're still going to have to draft 3 quarterbacks no matter what. So I'd rather take a wide receiver that I like, while at the same time to give ourselves an option of taking Bryce Young later on in this draft if everything pans out for us. So yeah, I mean, you still have the shot that Derek Carr makes it on the way back around. Whereas, I mean, if we pass on DJ Chark, I would not be confident at all that he could make it on the way back around. But now running back, we have Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Elijah Mitchell. Wide receiver, we have Chris Olave, JSN, George Pickens, Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams, DJ Chark. Tight end, we have George Kittle, Dalton Schultz. And quarterback, we have Geno Smith. Now, if I'm looking at the teams that we've bet on so far, we have bet on the Pittsburgh Steelers with Najee Harris, George Pickens. We have bet on the Seattle Seahawks with Jackson Smith-Njigba, Geno Smith. And we have bet on the 49ers with George Kittle as well as Elijah Mitchell. And yes, it's a second-year wide receiver kind of build. I mean, if you were drafted in last year's draft class at wide receiver, I'm going to draft you over and over and over again here. That's what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing. But Donovan Peoples-Jones off the board, 146. And it kind of goes to show what we were talking about at wide receiver, right? I mean, all of a sudden, if you look at the wide receivers that are available to us on the way back around, you don't really have anybody. Who am I supposed to take here at wide receiver? Whereas quarterback, we have a multitude of different options. We can go in a couple different ways. Hell, we can even go with the running back here if we really want. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And Brock Purdy wanted us to take Brock Purdy. Maybe I will for you, my man. All I know is I am so freaking excited to watch Trey Lance tomorrow. That'll be the one preseason game where I'm like, okay, this is my Super Bowl. Now, Dub KJ on the clock. Let's see what they do. They don't have any New Orleans Saints, so there's a strong possibility that we end up getting Derek Carr here. If not, I'm going to be fine taking Kyler Murray for the elite level ceiling in weeks 15, 16, 17. I really like Kyler Murray at this price point. But Beast Mode says 12-team PPR formats, 2 wide receivers and 2 flex spots. 4th pick, How should we go rounds 1 through 3? I can also switch my pick for the 9th. You definitely want to keep your top 4 pick, my friend. And in general, it's very hard for me to know exactly how your draft's going to go. Now, what I will say is for a 12-team full PPR format where you have 2 wide receivers and 2 flex spots, there I already made a rankings video for exactly this format with the top 24 picks, my friend. So honestly, in this specific format, I think you can follow that rankings video one for one. And I'm going to have an updated rankings video coming out very soon for you as well. But Johnny coming out says 12-team half PPR. I can trade a first for a 6th, a 9th, or 10th. Which would you prefer and what would you take? I definitely keep the first pick. Yeah, you keep the 101, my friend. You want to be able to have access to Justin Jefferson. I mean, I've talked about this a lot as well. But if you are looking at Jefferson, it's a wide receiver that has the upside to be a elite level option. He could legitimately have 2,000 receiving yards in a single season, while at the same time he has a floor where he's the wide receiver 5 from a points per game perspective. So there's not really any downside to taking him. Now, David coming out says, pick 4, CMC, Barkley, Taylor, London, ETN, Pitts. Am I crazy to love that? Hell no, my man. I mean, if we are chasing upside, it's exactly what you want to do. Now, to be fair, if your league is a league where if you get last place, you're having to go ahead and get a tattoo, maybe not great, right? That team house obviously has a lot of downside, but I play fantasy football just to chase upside, upside, upside. So I personally really like that, my man. Okay. Okay. Now, Zamir White off the board 170. Personally, I like to see that. I'm not really taking any Zamir White. I mean, we said it last year as well. Zamir White is an undersized running back that does not catch passes. Generally, I don't see a very high ceiling with undersized RBs that don't catch the ball. Tajay Spears off the board 172. Now, both Shaheed as well as Brock Purdy are in play for us. Purdy goes off the board at 173. Shaheed goes as well, so we probably shouldn't have said anything. Now, at this point, let's just go ahead and take Jalen Hyatt. I mean, the Giants wide receiver core wide open, right? I mean, we have no idea who the guy's going to be there. I mean, I really would have liked either Shaheed to pair up with Derek Carr or Brock Purdy to pair up with George Kittle as well as Elijah Mitchell, but maybe we just go ahead and take our guy Trey Lance. Maybe we do. We'll see. Now let's move this down. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not dropped a like on this live stream yet, go down there, drop a like on the stream. I mean, we only fire up a second draft if we had 350 likes on the stream. So if that doesn't happen, this may be our only draft of the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, go down there, drop a like on the stream if y'all want another draft after this one. And let's swing this back around. Okay. Jeff Wilson goes 176. Justin Ross 177. Bryce Young off the board. I would have been really excited about having Bryce Young make it back to us at 186. I even considered reaching on Bryce Young to pick 175 to pair him up with DJ Chark. And we still have some other quarterback options available to us, so it's not the end of the world, right? I'm interested to see that Jerome Ford hasn't fallen further down these draft boards. I would assume that very few people would be drafting Jerome Ford at this point. It's Ronick says Lawrence was picked off first pass of the preseason. I didn't even see that, my friend. Let me pull that up. Okay, Shakir off the board 182. I think we have a lot of flexibility with how we've drafted this team. Paris Campbell goes 183. Paris Campbell definitely would have been in play for us here as well. Yeah, first pass of the preseason. Trevor Lawrence picked off. Well, what kind of throw was that? I don't even know who he was going to. Okay, Parker goes. I guess we will mix in Jerome Ford. Now, full transparency, I haven't really drafted a lot of Ford, just given his current cost, but I mean, it's not like we want to have 0% Jerome Ford. I understand the thought process and why people are taking him, right? I mean, this is a running back that has receiving down upside, while at the same time, this is a running back that is in a very good offense, has touches available in that backfield with no Kareem Hunt. So I'll take him, even if I'm not like a massive fanboy and I'm not really excited. But yes, Van says preseason, who cares? Yeah, obviously you're not pushing down someone based off a preseason interception. Generally, how we want to be using preseason to adjust rankings is when you're looking at ambiguous backfields where we really don't understand who that first guy is going to be. If we can actually get a little insight there based off how they deploy those running backs, like especially if we want to figure out who the running back 2 is in an individual offense, right? That's where the preseason's going to be really useful. Jason coming out says, Underdog, we got Waddle and Tyreek on the same team. Tua went third. What? You got... I mean, someone got Waddle and Tyreek. I hope you did not take Tua just to complete that stack. Like, taking Tua in round 3 just removes any upside that you would have from that stack. Any upside whatsoever. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are 15 likes from firing up another draft after this one. So, if y'all want another draft, go down there and drop a like on this stream. Now, we are most likely looking wide receiver quarterback with this last pick. Now, CJ Stroud is in play for us. We did take Dalton Schultz. Now, of course, CJ Stroud did not look good, but it is what it is. Like we said, we're not going to be overreacting due to preseason based off how someone looked. It's more so going to be for the usage and how we're determining how we're going to draft these players. Richie James goes 196. 20 says, speak for yourself. I'm not touching Lawrence before the 18th. I'm not going to blame you on that one, my man. Not going to blame you. Now, Chew Bubbard goes, so we're going to go ahead. We will take CJ Stroud to pair up with Dalton Schultz. And we're going to take a wide receiver in the last round. But I'll let y'all know what wide receiver we end up taking, right? Let's go ahead and let's fire up another draft. Now, we are going to be looking at the biggest, I don't want to say the biggest. There's a bigger tournament on Underdog. The biggest tournament on Underdog is the Mastiff, the $1,000 draft tournament, which, like I said, if you're new to Underdog, I do not recommend you getting into that. I don't even recommend you getting into our next draft. We are going to be getting into the big dog draft. I want to reiterate, if you are new to Underdog, the perfect tournament for you is going to be the Chihuahua 2. That's a $4 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool, $25,000 for first place. But this is the tournament that I won last season. I won the big dog, and I won $100,000 in that tournament. So we are going to go ahead. We are going to try to run it back, ladies and gentlemen. There are actually 10 spots open in this draft room. So, you know what? This may not fill. Okay, we'll see. I'm going to give it a minute, but if it doesn't fill, we are going to have to go ahead. We are going to have to hop in a Chihuahua draft and wait for this to fill. We'll see. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually filling faster than I thought it would. Henry says people join too soon. Oh, for the love of God, I hope that's not true. But 6 spots open in this draft. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into a Chihuahua draft. And we are going to practice here until that big dog draft fills. And once that big dog draft fills, then we'll go ahead and we will get back in that draft. I don't have my phone on me though, so I need to find a way where I can make sure we're not going to be missing anything there. Okay. Okay, where are we at here? We're at pick 9. I feel like we've been at pick 9 a lot lately. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. It feels like we've had a decent amount of selections at 9. We got Tesla in here at 11. Happy to see it, my friend. Happy to see you. And then apparently there are only 3 spots left in other drafts, so we may be bouncing to the other draft very soon. Let me know if that other draft fills, ladies and gentlemen. Robert saying we're going to get the 101 in the $250 draft. I hope you're right. I hope you're right, my friend. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. David in here at 2. You love to see it. You love to see it. Now, is this Eric? Eric on the clock. Goes Jefferson off the board at 1. No surprise to anybody. Chase off the board at 2. No surprise there. Shirley says, if you get the 101, go Bijan if you really believe. How about this? If I get the 102 in the $250 draft, I will go Bijan Robinson. Uncle Fresh telling us we're going to get the 104. 104, I'm not going Bijan. But if I get the 102, I will go Bijan Robinson in the other draft. How about this? Actually, no, we'll go Chase. I don't have enough Chase. If I get the 103, I'll go Bijan Robinson in the other draft. Okay. We're about to be on the clock. Now, Cali Dog on the clock. Let's see what they do. And I'm probably going to surprise some people at pick 9, but I'm going to take a hard stance after diving into the numbers more so this past week. There is a player that I'm just out on now. Kelsey goes pick 7. McLean on the clock. Goes Eckler. Okay, we were going to pass on Eckler no matter what. I think I am done drafting Austin Eckler, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, just in general, if I'm looking at Austin Eckler this next season, I think there are too many red flags to pass on just like a guaranteed elite level wide receiver like Stephon Diggs over him, particularly in Underdog Fantasy drafts, that is. Now, of course, in your regular redraft league, going to be a little bit different. But in Underdog drafts, I would be more so worried now. Devontae Adams dealing with a calf strain. So I'm going to be a little bit worried on that front, okay? Not going to lie to you. With Devontae Adams, I've drafted a lot of them, but we are getting a discount here. We are starting Stephon Diggs as well as Adams. We know in these Underdog drafts, I generally love slamming running backs in rounds 3, 4, and 5. So we'll see how this plays out. Let's go Diggs and Adams, and then we'll figure out the rest. But of course, if y'all want to get into a draft with us, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing this every single night on the live stream. This is the perfect tournament if you are new to Underdog Fantasy to get in. The perfect tournament for you to just practice for your fantasy football draft in general. It's a $4 buy-in, $25,000 first place prize, $250,000 prize pool. And if you sign up to Underdog with the link in the live chat description or comment section, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. Underdog is available in pretty much every state, and you can also check out all these cool player props on Underdog. Right now, my favorite is Jordan Love for fewer than 13.5 interceptions. But peanut butter waivers coming out here and flexing on us with Justin Fields. Yes, sir. I mean, Chicago Bears fans should be pretty happy. Obviously, it's just the preseason, but it is what it is. And we are 2 likes away from hitting 400 likes in this live stream. So thank you so much for everybody going down there and hitting that like button. And Shirley saw Bijan go at the 103 earlier in a Best Ball Mania draft. Interesting. Henry asking if the big dog's full. So we are in that $250 draft lobby, ladies and gentlemen. And there's one spot open in the $250 big dog draft lobby. That's the tournament we won $100,000 in last year on Underdog. If you want to go ahead and draft against us, one spot left in the high stakes drafts. Once that fills, we are going to bounce from this draft and we are going to go over to that one. Okay. Lamar Jackson goes 28. Swing this back around. Chief Matt says, if I spend $250 on a draft, my wife will leave me. Okay, well. Stick to the Chihuahua streets, my man. I definitely stick to the Chihuahua streets in that instance. Brees Hall goes off the board 29. Interesting to see Lamar go before Josh Allen, right? I mean, there that team pairs up Lamar and Tyreek Hill for the Week 17 correlation that people love to chase. Now, when we have Stephon Diggs, the dream is that Josh Allen falls, right? Now, how likely is that dream becoming true? Not too likely. It is what it is. Now, Josh Allen off the board at 30. Okay. GBD12 says, I definitely purposely chose not to draft with the flock in the big dog. Y'all are ruthless. Honestly, good call, my man. I think our drafts maybe would be a little bit better if I didn't do them on the live stream. Now, this team took 2 running backs out the gate with Eckler, Pollard. Let's see if they decide to go with a 3rd running back in Ramondre Stevenson. They do go Ramondre Stevenson, so we're going to go ahead. We'll grab Mark Andrews here at 33. I'm not a big Andrews guy, at least not with where he goes in these drafts. I feel like it's very difficult to make Mark Andrews teams work. However, if we're trying to come up with a unique build in general, there are not going to be too many teams that have the combination of Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, as well as Mark Andrews, right? Now, Jason says, should I trade A.J. Hollywood for Andrews and Allen? A.J. Brown, Hollywood Brown for Mark Andrews and Josh Allen. If it is a league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, then sure. Okay, let's see. We're either going to go Keenan Allen or Travis Etienne, whoever falls. Like I said, in the majority of these drafts, I am taking Travis Etienne over Najee Harris. Okay. Keenan falls. I'm not a big Keenan guy either. I mean, in general, I think Keenan Allen, ADP 36, is something that I'm not touching. I mean, he rose to have an ADP of 33 earlier this offseason. One of my least drafted players on Underdog, but I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm an idiot. I could be wrong, right? I mean, I'm wrong all the time. I could easily be wrong with Keenan Allen this year. So whenever he does fall and whenever it leads to a unique team and a unique combination, probably makes sense for us to go ahead and mix him in. But we are now full in that $250 draft lobby, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and let's get this going. Ooh. Come on. 101. 101. Where are we at? 105. Okay. So we will have access to an elite level wide receiver. We will have access to an elite level wide receiver here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be really exciting. We will make it work. We'll make it work. Now, maybe we have Christian McCaffrey fall to us, right? I mean, the $1,000 draft we were in, we had CMC fall, but let me change the buy-in for this draft. Joshua says Carolina looking stinky. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up with what the Chicago Bears just did, right? I mean, it's hard to compare to what the Bears did. Now, CMC off the board at pick 3. Smooth this over. We're probably going to get Kupp here. Unless this team goes wild. No, they go Tyreek, so we are going to go ahead. We are going to take Cooper Kupp. I actually don't have much Cooper Kupp just because I've been taking Tyreek Hill over him all offseason. And there was that stretch about a month where people were worried about the Tyreek Hill boat incident that Cooper Kupp was going ahead of him every single time. So we'll mix in Cooper Kupp. I mean, I like getting an elite level wide receiver here in the middle of the first round regardless. But Gumbo coming out says, thoughts on this Underdog Best Ball Mania team where we have Burrow, Carr, Etienne, Akers, Kamara, Warren, Zamir White, Deion Jackson. We better have strong wide receivers, my man. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Olave, Higgins. Oh, beautiful. Jacoby, MVS, Rashid, Renfro. Tight end, we have Goddard and Trautman. I am completely fine with this team. Now, what I will say is my favorite thing that you're doing here is honestly probably going to go unnoticed by a lot of other people, but you are taking a player that has been very rarely drafted in Best Ball Mania so far this offseason. Going ahead and taking Adam Trautman, even if I am not a fan of Adam Trautman, even if 9 times out of 10, I want to be going through and avoiding him in drafts, nobody else has drafted him on Underdog so far this offseason, right? So somehow if he ends up being the starting tight ends, and you're one of the only teams with him on a roster, I mean, you could be printing money. Could be. Now, Thinkman says, I'm in a league with 3 wide receivers double flex with no dedicated tight end spot. Are you completely punting tight end unless the value falls? And how would you draft early? I'm slamming wide receivers in this format if it's going to be a full PPR format, my friend. And yeah, don't even consider tight end. Like, someone like Kyle Pitts just all of a sudden is worth literally nothing. Now, Mahomes goes 17, so we're not going to be able to take Mahomes here. Let's swing this back around. No soup for you in a lot of these high-stakes drafts with us. I'm Balding, I'm 21, says, Mason, is it a good sign that Trey Lance is starting over Sam Darnold tomorrow? Did we really ever think that there was going to be anything else, right? Did anybody think that Sam Darnold was going to be starting over Trey Lance? I don't know. Hopefully not. Now, we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Jalen Waddle, pick 20. I mean, with Waddle, this gives us a lot of flexibility with what we're able to do later on in the draft. If we want to slam middle round running back values on Underdog, it's honestly something I'm considering, and I'm completely fine to go ahead and take Waddle here and give us that flexibility, of course. Now, 20 says he doesn't want to live in a world where Adam Troutman has fantasy value. Neither do I, my friend. So, like in the new Underdog tournaments that open up now where some people may be mixing in Adam Troutman, I don't like it. But specifically in Best Ball Mania, where there have been like hundreds of thousands of teams drafted and nobody ever has taken Adam Troutman, I think it's an intriguing thing to talk about and an intriguing thing to think about. Now, after we take Waddle, you have Devonta Smith, T. Higgins going off the board 21, 22. Jalen Hurts goes 23. David says, I'm a 49ers fan. I had a $500 bet Darnold was the week 1 starter over Trey Lance. What happens if Purdy starts, my man? But what kind of odds did you get with that bet? What odds did you get with that bet, my man? That's crazy. Now, Metcalf off the board 24. Trey telling us to go ahead and take Luke Musgrave. Yeah, so it looks like Musgraves actually has a clear path for some playing time year 1, which is something that we have to point out. In your regular redraft league, you have no interest in Luke Musgrave, but here in Underdog drafts, you can definitely mix him in. Now, Taylor goes 27. I would have been in love with Jonathan Taylor 29. I would have slammed Taylor 29. Wouldn't have even thought about it. Now, this team took Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith out the gate. So it looks like they're just going to go ahead and list an ADP primarily. I mean, I'd probably take Derrick Henry. I mean, they haven't done anything weird up until this point. Looks like every pick they made has been top of ADP. Actually, they go Andrews. So we're going to get Derrick Henry in round 3. Ooh. My God, I need my phone. I need to tweet this out. Sadly, we do not have it. All right, let me go ahead and take a screenshot. But yes, let's party, ladies and gentlemen. When's the last time you saw Derrick Henry go this late in a fantasy football draft, huh? And I tweeted this out. I was doing research for a video earlier today and saw something that I would have never guessed. Did y'all know Derrick Henry had more receiving yards per game last season than Saquon Barkley? Did you all know that? I mean, I didn't believe it. The site I was looking at, I had to triple check, double check, go to other sites as well. I was like, are their statistics correct? Or am I pulling this from the right place? And yes, it was true. It was true. Okay. Now, Travis Etienne off the board at pick 40. I would have loved to have Travis Etienne there. Now. So in that other draft, we take David Montgomery, pick 81. That other team I really like. It's going to be a unique build that, in my mind, has access to pretty high upside. Okay, Burrow goes 42. Najee Harris off the board as well. Do we want Mixon? I'm actually going to take Mike Williams here. This is going to give us almost a locked and loaded elite level quarterback, right? Like, if we don't get Justin Fields making it back to his 53, which he probably won't, then instead we could go Justin Herbert at pick 53. So I know most people are going to go Mixon. I'm taking Mike Williams specifically so we can go Justin Herbert later on. Okay. JSN off the board 49. I actually don't mind that at all because primarily JSN is going to go at the 5-6 turn. So it's going to lead to a unique combo where there aren't going to be too many teams that have the combination of Jefferson and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Kenneth Walker goes. Joe Mixon falling. Luke asking who our most drafted player is. In these underdog best ball drafts where I'm trying to have access to unique combinations with elite level ceilings, my most drafted guy is actually Trey Lance, my friend. And I'm not stopping. I am still mixing in Trey Lance in about 20% of our drafts in round 18, specifically in tournaments. Obviously, that's not something to do in a private draft. But we're going to go DeAndre Hopkins. Our plan was to take Justin Herbert. But the reason we're going to go Hopkins is, one, we've already made a bet on this Tennessee Titans offense, right? We've already taken Derrick Henry. And second is, I mean, very rarely is DeAndre Hopkins ever going to fall to this point. So, I mean, going to be a unique combo that not many people are able to compare to, where you are going to have some teams that have Justin Herbert here. So, yeah, let's do it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like the start, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, definitely don't recommend you getting in a $250 draft with us if you're new to Underdog, but definitely one of the $4 drafts, one of the $3 drafts, one of the $5 drafts that we're doing every single day. You can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat in the description in the comment section. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. It's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last year. And in this tournament in particular, this is the big dog tournament that I won. I won 2 tournaments last year on Underdog. And I really want y'all to check the video that's coming out tomorrow, because in the video that comes out tomorrow, I actually react to the live stream that we drafted the winning big dog team last year. I know it's the craziest thing in the world that not only we won the tournament, but I live streamed the team that ended up winning. So hopefully we can repeat it, right? Hopefully this is the team that wins the big dog this season. But yes, that will be coming out tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So please make sure you watch that. Okay, now Darren Waller goes 63. A little early with Darren Waller. Now, running back, we have Derrick Henry. Wide receiver, we have Kupp, Waddle, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins. Okay. In the other draft, we take Brian Robinson as our running back 3. Okay, so Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, both off the board. Jordan Addison goes 66. Dameon Pierce goes. That was our guy. Spam the chat. Who do you want? And you better say it quick. Everybody spam the chat. Let me know who you want. I don't know what to do. Dameon Pierce was our plan. I think we pivot to a selection that everybody's going to hate. And let me know who y'all want. Akers, Lawrence, Akers. Lawrence, Dobbins, Akers. Looks like most people wanted Cam Akers. I haven't drafted a lot of Cam Akers. To be honest with you, I don't love the price point of Cam Akers. But we'll go ahead and we'll mix them in. Like, I'm stupid, right? There's always a possibility that Akers ends up being good. Well, at the same time, we kind of have a shot to get all these other players on the way back around, where Akers is the one guy that's not going to make it back. Okay. Let's move this. So now wide receiver, we have Kupp, Waddle, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins. Running back, we have Henry, Akers. So the offenses we bet on so far, we bet on the Rams with Kupp and Akers, and we bet on the Titans with Henry and Hopkins. Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, if there's a spot where it makes sense to take Cam Akers, it's probably with this build, right? It's probably with this build. Now, this team at 1 took Josh Allen at pick 25. They get the ability to take Lawrence at 72 to pair up with Christian Kirk. Now, they do decide to do that there with Lawrence. I would have taken Lawrence if they didn't, if Lawrence would have made it to us at 77. Yeah, 20. Sadly, we don't get Lawrence on the way back around. It would have been nice. It would have been. But let's move this. And I'm actually fine with these guys that are coming back around to us. Jason says, trade is for Keenan. Also, what's a good team makeup? Let's see if I can find your question previously, my friend. I have no idea what your league format is. If it's a shallow redraft format, I want to be rostering as many running backs on the bench that have access to high ceilings. If it's for Keenan, no, hell no, you don't want to do it. Now, J.K. Dobbins was definitely going to be our pick if J.K. Dobbins would have made it to us. Who do y'all want between Javonte, David Montgomery? I'm not considering Quentin Johnston. I'm not considering Swift. I'm not considering Connor. Really, these are the only guys. Personally, I lean Javonte Williams, but let me know if y'all would rather have David Montgomery because... Okay. Montgomery, Javonte. Montgomery, Javonte. Yeah, it looks like most people want Javonte Williams. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll take Javonte here. Okay. Now, it would have been sick if we had J.K. Dobbins making it back around to us at 177, right? But, I mean, I realize that I need, and I say this all the time. I mean, 99% of the people that are hanging out in the live chat right now are smarter than I am. And it was a very strong reminder of that whenever I reacted to the live stream where we won the 100,000 in, and that I asked y'all a question similar to that. And y'all will see, I wanted to make a decision that would have been horribly wrong and we would have lost the entire tournament. Whereas y'all swung me in a way that we ended up winning the tournament because of you. So I need to ask y'all more often and use you as my resource because, like I said, y'all are smarter than I am. Now, that team at 11 is beautiful, right? Let's check out that team at 11. They went Amon-Ra St. Brown and Garrett Wilson out the gate. Now, personally, I'd probably go Eckler at 12, especially hindsight being 2020 and they get Justin Herbert falling to him. But nonetheless, Breece Hall, 35, Jahmyr Gibbs, 38. What is beautiful is they get Justin Herbert all the way down at 59, and then they're able to get the luck of the draw and have Quentin Johnston making it to him at pick 83. It's beautiful. Connor says, who is the player? I don't remember who I was considering at the pick, but the player that y'all convinced me to take was actually my most drafted quarterback. And at that point, I was starting to get nervous because I was just taking him so freaking much, but it was Mahomes. Yeah. It was Mahomes in round 5. Which obviously, hindsight being 2020, it seems like the easiest decision you would ever make, but time is a little bit different. Now, the question is, do we take Tua and block him from the Tyreek Hill team? Vadim says, where's our cut? My man, the amount of hours I spend live streaming, I'm giving y'all at least $10,000 worth of value live streaming every single night. So if my calculations are correct, you owe me, my friend. You owe me. Now, I'm no mathematician, but Carson says, Addison, Dotson, Quentin Johnson, White or Walker as the flex. I'm going to go Kenneth Walker, assuming he's healthy, my man. Okay, actually, we could go Burks and just go full-blown Tennessee Titans onslaught. Now that Burks is off, I don't necessarily think that's even they probably save us from ourselves, right? We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Tua, pick 92, pair him up with Jalen Waddle. I mean, we want a quarterback that has access to an elite level ceiling. We saw that with Tua last season. I mean, Tua was only behind Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes last year in adjusted yards per pass attempt. So Let's go ahead and take Tua. Because this is a smaller field tournament in general, I still probably want to mix in 3 QBs. So we're still probably going to take 3 guys. And for that reason, I probably don't want to take another quarterback soon, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Andrew says, I got robbed of Tua. Well, Andrew, you have sniped me with every single pick you've made so far today. So that was I'm not joking, Andrew. I know I'm going to sound like an ass saying this, but whenever I was sitting there and going, well, that Tyreek Hill team has taken literally every single player I've wanted this entire live stream, I kind of want to get back to them. I mean, I kind of want to give them a taste of their medicine. So I'm sorry, but you sniped us on Joe Mixon. You sniped us on J.K. Dobbins. And you made my life hell. Okay. Let's move this over. Dalvin goes. Honestly, Dalvin was who we were taking here. Andrew goes Penny. Do y'all want Dylan or do we mix in Kadarius Toney? What have I said all offseason? I've said all offseason now that if Kadarius Toney makes it, honestly, I'm taking Toney. I just feel like such a fraud when we've said for so long now not to take Kadarius Toney, that he's the worst pick in fantasy football drafts. But I want to reiterate, and I know y'all are tired of hearing me say this. Whenever I was calling Toney the worst pick in fantasy football drafts, he was going before Mike Evans. He was going in the middle of round 6. What I said at that time was if he fell past pick 100, I would take him. Here he is past pick 100, pick 101. We're getting him after Bateman, Jamison Williams, Cortland Sutton, Treylon Burks, Michael Thomas, Sky Moore. We're getting him right before Tyler Boyd. This is the range where the swing on the upside makes sense in my mind. I feel horrible for doing it after saying we won it for God knows how long, especially in a high-stakes draft. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, Carson says, Allen and Walker for Burrow and Etienne, where we have Chase. I probably want to be squeezing out a little more value. I like the idea. I definitely like the idea of getting a running back upgrade while selling Josh Allen to get our quarterback stack, but I just want to be squeezing out a little more value. Shirley says I couldn't be higher on Dylan. I kind of like Dylan as well, and that's maybe I should just go ahead and take him. A part of my thought process here is where there are going to be other drafts where I can take Dylan later, wide receivers. I mean, probably not getting Kadarius Toney any lower than this. I don't know. We'll see. John says, who are you going to stack with Tua? I already have Waddle, my friend. Frymuth goes 109. Not great news for Frymuth with the usage that he had yesterday, but it is what it is, right? It's not the end of the world. It's just preseason week 1. Andrew says, Trevor Lawrence threw a pick. It's over. I mean, yeah, can you believe Trevor Lawrence threw a pick and that team still had the nerve to take him at pick 72. I mean, wild. I wouldn't take him to pick 172. Now, let's see. Kennedy Curse on the clock. Do we have any reason to take Cousins? No, we don't. It's Ronick says Cowboys 2 fumble, season over. Yeah. RIP Cowboys fans. RIP. Cousins goes, we're actually going to take Devon A-Chain here. I mean, I think you will correlate with Tua given the fact that he is going to be the receiving down back in this offense. I kind of have to be looking at him with a little more excitement now that you have no running back signing and it's August 12th, right? Obviously, they can still bring in a running back. They have a month to do so, but I mean, they can bring in a running back and Devon A-Chain can still have a role as a pass catcher. We have Tua, we have Waddle. We need a running back. There's really nobody else compelling in this range. So I think it's whatever. We'll go ahead and we'll take him. And then I kind of just want to wait till the very end of the draft to take Stafford to pair up with Akers and Kupp and to take Tannehill to pair up with Henry and Hopkins. We don't really have any Seahawks to take Geno here. Steel City Blue says, surprised he didn't pair up P. Ryan with Tony. Yeah, that is a surprise. It's a surprise. Although I love my guy, Samaje P. Ryan. Geno Smith is just so much better of a pick than anybody else in this range. We may go with an unstacked Geno. Spam the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you want? An unstacked Geno Smith, and we can still go like Ryan Tannehill round 18, or Jarrett McKinnon to pair up with Kadarius Toney. I am actually going to take Geno Smith. If this was a Pubby tournament, if this was a Best Ball Mania tournament where the overall tournament field was larger and maybe stacking was a little bit more important, maybe we don't consider it, but I don't know. I mean, look at the range of players here. We're taking Geno Smith and passing on Jacoby Myers and Michael Gallup. Are we really going to be losing money by taking Geno Smith over those wide receivers, right? Twinny says, Geno and get Noah Fant late. I honestly don't hate the idea, my man. I mean, I love Noah Fant. The talent is just so hard to project that situation when you have JSN, Lockett, and DK Metcalf and quality running backs there for Noah Fant to get any type of real volume. But we'll see. We'll see. McKinnon goes 129. Yeah, Greg Dulcich, obviously not great usage either if you're comparing to Troutman. Damian Harris off the board 131. You've had a bunch of buzz surrounding James Cook as of late. Andrew says, do you take preseason games into consideration at all? Definitely, like we said, you really want to be looking at the usage for these players, especially in ambiguous backfields when we're going to be trying to figure out how to project like the running back twos and respective offenses. With that being said, right, we don't want to say, oh, DJ Moore had a big-time touchdown. Oh, George Pickens had a big-time touchdown. All of a sudden, we need to take these guys 2 rounds earlier than where they were going. In reality, it doesn't really work like that, right? I mean, it's not like they're going to change the role that they have. But, I mean, a real example, and I don't want to go too far with this, but Tank Dell is someone that you see his usage, and you say, okay, well, he kind of looks like he could be top 2 option for CJ Stroud this next season. All of a sudden, let's start taking Tank Dell over Robert Woods at the end of these underdog drafts. That's something that actually makes a difference with the preseason. But I want to highly, highly stress that Tank Dell is not someone you start taking in your regular redraft leagues just because he scored a touchdown, right? You still have to be thinking the range of outcomes with these players. And like I've discussed before, taking Tank Dell as like your wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7 on Underdog. And then if he turns out to be a top 36 wide receiver in fantasy, it's a great pick and he won you a considerable amount of money. However, if you take him as like a wide receiver 6 in your regular redraft league and he turns out to be the wide receiver 30 from a points per game perspective, it really doesn't help you at all. Now, are y'all wanting Greg Dulcich or Jalen Warren? Now, Warren had a large role in comparison to Najee Harris in the Steelers preseason game, where Greg Dulcich obviously, didn't look great in comparison to Troutman. And we just saw this story with Albert O and the Denver Broncos. So I'm kind of leaning Jalen Warren, but let me know in the chat if y'all want Dulcich. So the only answer I see is Steel City Blue says Jalen Warren. Now, his name's Steel City Blue. We know he's a little bit biased here, but we will go ahead. We'll take Jalen Warren, 141, and Greg Dulcich will go immediately after. Okay. Mingo, Higbee. It looks like people wanted Higbee. Dulcich, Jalen Warren, Tyler Algier. Well, maybe we can get a couple of these guys that y'all want on the way back around. We'll see. Now, what's funny is I'm balding. I'm 21-2. Has been balding and 21 at the same time for a couple of years now, my man. I know you're not 21 anymore. There's no way. You need to update that. Maybe the correct name for this, because I believe this was your YouTube name a couple years back, was I'm balding and I'm 21-2. It should probably be like I am bald and I'm 23-2. Okay. Yeah, I'm balding. I'm 21-2. It says 23 now. Yeah, my man. I'm assuming if you were balding at 21, you're just straight up bald at this point. And trust me, I'm going down that same road with you. And I'm trying to pretend like I'm not. But and then we got to update the name. I'm bald and I'm 23 too. That's what I would assume. And Sean says, don't call it bias, call it insider info. Yes, we got some insider info from Steel City Blue. But we are 2 likes away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream, and help us out. Now, we're going to be going with an offense that we've already bet on a ton, whether that's Tyler Higbee or the year 2 tight end in Tennessee. Obviously, we've already constructed our teams around the Los Angeles Rams and the Tennessee Titans as well. So we are going to go Tyler Higbee here, and we are going to be planning on going Matthew Stafford in a couple rounds. But, yeah, I actually like this draft. Let's see. Now, wide receiver, we have Kupp, Waddle, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins, Kadarius Toney. Running back, we have Henry, Akers, Javonte, Devon Achane, Jalen Warren. Quarterback, we have Tua stacked up with Waddle. We have Geno Smith unstacked. Tight end, we have Tyler Higbee. So the offenses we bet on, we've bet on the Rams with Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers, Tyler Higbee. We have bet on the Dolphins with Jalen Waddle, Tua, and Devon Achane. We have bet on the Titans with Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins. And it looks like that is about it so far. But I like it. I like it. If it was like a puppy draft or a Best Ball Mania team, maybe in like a super large field tournament, right? You're not as excited about it, but it is what it is. Now, I'm bald. I'm 23-2 out here in the live chat. Love to see it, my man. Love to see it. I'm bald and sad. I'm 23-2. Well, good thing is hats exist now. The issue is when you've made a brand of wearing a suit on your fantasy football channel, when you go bald, how can you get away with wearing a hat and a suit at the same time? So your boy here is probably looking at hair plugs in a few years. You're going to pull the Theo Vaughn. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, Kyler goes 157. Jordan Love goes 158. Obviously, Love looked strong. And I want to point this out because I really like this line even before the preseason. But I really like this pick'em line that they have of Jordan Love for fewer than 13 and a half interceptions on Underdog. Like, I do not mind that at all, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So I am pretty certain we are going to get Matthew Stafford here at pick 164 to pair up with all the Los Angeles Rams players that we have. Honestly, if we don't, I'm going to be completely fine. We'll just take Tannehill at the very end. Augustus says Elon Musk had hair plugs. Yeah, and Elon and I are pretty much the same guy, right? Pretty much the same guy. Brock says, Mason, if you win Best Ball Mania, you have to go bald. If I win Best Ball Mania and I win $3 million, your boy's going to pull up and I'm going to have hair that goes down to my ankles. All right. You know what kind of hair plugs we can get with $3 million? I'd imagine some good ones. Now we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Stafford. Like I discussed, I mean, this was the plan all along once we set up our team in this direction. And now we are no longer going to be taking quarterback. But this will be a team where we take 3 quarterbacks as well as 3 tight ends. Like I discussed, this isn't really something that we're looking to do if it is going to be a super large field underdog tournament style contest. But here specifically in the big dog, I think you can afford to go a little bit lighter on wide receiver, especially when we have those elite level names at the top. So completely fine with this. Okay. Fred says, you took a team that started with potential and then you burned $250. Well, my man, I got great news for you. I'm going to be, quote unquote, burning $250 multiple times before this season starts. So, of course, if you want to get in our next draft, you know where to find me on this live stream. Go down there, link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy will get you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. If you're new to Underdog, I definitely recommend you getting into the $3, the $4 drafts, having some fun, practice there, not only for Underdog drafts, but also practice for your main fantasy football league. But, I mean, I believe Fred's been hanging out with us for quite some time, my man. So if you want to hop in a $250 draft, you're more than welcome. Okay. Now, let's see. Kenny Pickett goes 171. We want to see quarterbacks go. John Mechie goes 172. What's this report? Do we just take Isaiah? Let's just take Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, you have no idea what's going to happen with the Giants. Just take a swing. I just don't know what's going to happen. Now, Carson says, I'm balding at 25, going to Turkey soon, Mason. Well, my man, if they have 2-for-1 deals, let me know. As I told you, I started taking Rogaine like a month ago or so. And then my chest really started hurting. And someone reached out to us and was like, hey, if you're taking Rogaine, stop taking it. And I've stopped taking it. My chest doesn't hurt anymore. So, and I refuse to, I know a lot of people take like some pill. I refuse to take a pill. Not doing that. So I will be going to Turkey with you, my friend. All right. Now, Bryce Young goes 177. Deonta Foreman finally off the board, 178. Honestly, I kind of wish that we would have taken like Jonathan Mingo there where we took Jalen Warren. Just that way we could go ahead and we could have taken Deonta Foreman at 173. I mean, Foreman round 15 is still phenomenal value, ladies and gentlemen. Still phenomenal value. Okay. I've talked about this before, but I have never seen Shaheed go before his ADP. Shaheed is a wide receiver that exclusively goes after his ADP. Exclusively. Kyle, Minoxidil, whatever the hell it is, that's what's in Rogaine. That's what made my chest hurt. Apparently, there are a lot of issues with it. So, yeah, we're not doing that. Now, Chew Bubbard goes off the board 184. We need to be taking tight ends, right? So the question is, can we get away with 5 running backs with Derrick Henry, Cam Akers, Javonte Williams, Devon Achane, Jalen Moore? Probably, yeah. I know we definitely need 3 tight ends. We know that at the very minimum. I really have no idea what we should be doing at this pick, so I'm just going to take Hayden Hurst so we can lock in someone. But Devontae Parker goes 190. Tajee Spears off 191. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Steel City Blue saying save a spot for Fant with Geno Smith. Yeah, I honestly don't even know if we have to do that, if we really think a stronger tight end's available. I'm not going to cry if we don't get him. Tannehill goes 194. Kupp, Waddle, Mike Williams, Hopkins, Tony, Hodgins. Do we have enough firepower wide receiver? Honestly, obviously, if it's Best Ball Mania, if it's a puppy draft, there's no thought process that you're done a wide receiver here. You're clearly taking another wide receiver. Specifically in these underdog tournaments. I'm sorry, in this big dog tournament where it's a much smaller field. Jeff Wilson makes it 21 picks past ADP for us. We've gone so heavy on this Miami Dolphins offense. We took Devon Achane previously, essentially making the bet that the Miami Dolphins don't bring in another running back. We are going to go ahead and we are going to double down on this bet by going Jeff Wilson. Now, wide receiver, we have Kupp, Waddle, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins, Kadarius Toney, Isaiah Hodgins. So very weak at wide receiver if you're looking at the depth. Obviously, we have the top end options. Running back, we have Henry, Akers, Javonte, Devon Achane, Jalen Warren, Jeff Wilson. Quarterback, we have Tua, Geno, Matthew Stafford, and we're most likely going to go Noah Fant in the last round. So if you're looking at the offenses we bet on in this draft, we bet on the Rams, with Cup, Akers, Matthew Stafford. We bet on the Dolphins with Waddle, Tua, A-Chain, Jeff Wilson. We bet on the Titans with Henry, DeAndre Hopkins. And I believe that may be it. Oh, we bet on the Rams with Cup, Higbee, Akers, Stafford. It's a very interesting team, but I think that should be it for this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again so damn much for hanging out with me every single day. You'll know I really, really do appreciate you. And of course, if you want to get in one of these underdog drafts with us, which we are doing every single day on the live stream, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus, we'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you'll find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. On Underdog, best ball, no time commitment at all during the year. Side drafted 700 teams, $150,000 last season. Same spot where you have all those pick'em lines that y'all see in the videos. My favorite pick'em line right now is going to be Jordan Love for fewer than 13.5 interceptions. Here's where Underdog is available in, but thank you so much again, ladies and gentlemen, for hanging out with us every single day. I really, really do appreciate y'all and really hope that I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night.